Good morning. Here we are with another PBL Talks. Today, our guest is Frank Lementec. Frank is an international tax lawyer, partner of Cohen and Gresser, international tax law firm. He's in Paris. He deals with international groups and private clients. He's also a professor in several universities in Paris, and it's also vice president of the French branch of International Fiscal Association. So Frank, it's really a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you very much for joining our PBL Talks. Can you describe us what are the measures that France has put in place from a tax standpoint to tackle with the coronavirus?
Yes, so many thanks for the invitation. Very glad to speak about this difficult situation that we are here facing. Of course, the sanitary situation is not good, and the economic situation is even worse. So the first bill that we got is dated March 23rd, and it introduced a status of public health emergency, which contains a number of measures, social measures, financial measures, and also tax measures. Before going into the tax measures, just two words of introduction, because the main measures has been this financial help that the state is currently giving to the companies with this short-time working compensation, that's so-called chômage partiel in French. Basically, the system is the following. If an employer decides to reduce the working hours of its employees, is able to pay 84% of the net salary of each employee, and the employer will get a refund, a total refund by the state. So this is currently a huge help from the state, and this is why we do not have so far and today a lot of unemployment person because of this help. We do have currently 12 million employees which are currently benefiting from this help from the state. So this is billions and billions of help to sustain the situation. Two, we do have a solidarity fund for small businesses, also for them to get some grants from the state. And third significant measure, the state also guarantee loans that are granted to companies up to 90% of the amount, and the amount of the loans could be up to 25% of the turnover of the last financial year. So this is a massive help, and currently, so far so good. And we do see in practice that the banks are quite reactive to help the companies to get this loan guaranteed by the state. So this is the main financial and social measures. On the tax side, like a lot of countries, France decided to introduce deferred tax payments rules, also deferred tax filing deadlines. So for corporate income tax, it has been deferred to 3 months. For other business-related taxes, exactly the same. Deadlines for submitting tax returns also have been deferred by several weeks. So this is for corporate income tax. We also have an accelerated procedures to get a refund of some tax credit, like R&D tax credit. We will get, usually it might take some months to get a refund. Now all the procedures are supposed to be quicker. For individuals, we do have, and I guess the same in Italy, the situation where some non-residents are currently stuck in France because of travel restriction. So the tax authorities say that it will not lead to a transfer of tax residency here in France because of this travel restriction. And so this is the main measure for income tax and corporate income tax. For VAT, and also like in other jurisdictions in the EU, the government decided not to introduce any deferred payments or any possibility to get a rebate of the VAT due. Only two tolerances have been introduced. First, the taxpayers can exercise their right of deduction based on electronic invoices, and they do not have to wait to get the invoices in paper. So this is really practical issues, but this is very welcome in these circumstances. Two, the other tolerances introduced by the tax authorities for VAT is that the taxpayers that might experience some difficulties to gather all the information for the month of March, because a lot of people were working from home and was not able to get all the relevant documentation. The companies are able to use the figures they had for the tax return in February, and times 80%, and then they will file a first March tax return based on these figures, with a regularization later on. Third component of this emergency bills is the third component is related to tax audit. So first, no new tax audit will be launched during this emergency period. For ongoing tax audit, it is stated that no procedural documents will be sent by the tax authorities during this period. So this period, this emergency period, as a reminder, will end by July 10. And still regarding the tax audit, all deadlines are currently frozen until 10 of August, so 1 month after the end of the emergency period. And finally, forced collections, so forced procedures of collection of taxes are currently suspended until November 10th. So this is the main measures, tax measure for France currently.
Thank you very much, Frank. Very clear. It's important. They are in line with the measures that we have seen in the other states and also in Italy. During our talk, we like to also to broaden up a little bit the view, and so to not remain just on the national level, but also going on international side. You are an international lawyer, you work in international firm, so we would like to have also your input on the international issues that we can have maybe in TP or in other things or in other items that you are facing in your activity.
Yes, to me, the main consequences of this COVID-19 crisis will be a deep review of the transfer pricing principles, because here, as a reminder, 60% of the international trade is made among related companies. So 60% of the international trade is intra-group transactions. So here, first, we do have an immediate need to justify that the losses that we will suffer this year are probably related to the specific crisis and not to a non-arm's length rules that was maybe applied by the group. Two, we will necessarily have changes in the transfer pricing policies of international groups. And they will have to take into consideration a lot of new elements that suddenly came and have to be considered. First, we do have some adjustment to made because of the travel restrictions. And I'm thinking about international services agreement, also supply chain agreement, that because of all this travel restriction need to be adjusted. Two, what we see is that there is a relocation of business function among the groups. marketing or whatever the function, but a lot of functions are currently moving from one jurisdiction to another because of this travel ban. Again, it will have to be, the transfer pricing policy will have to be adjusted accordingly. 3, we will have a serious concern about the interest rates that are currently applied among the group, because we do see some A3, 3A, AAA debtors suddenly coming close to insolvency procedures. So all the intragroup interest rate have to be also reviewed in light of the current economic situation. 4, what do we do with IP royalties? Since a lot of companies are no longer able to operate, do we have to suspend the payment of IP royalties, or do we have to reduce the IP royalties? There is really a lot of technical questions for royalties due to this lockdown, general lockdown. Additional point, currently, and this is a kind of unique situation, we do not have reliable comparables. We do not have comparables because we do not have real-time comparables. So everybody will do some adjustment, but with no comparables to do the adjustment. So we will maybe have confirmation that we are acting in the right way in 1 or 2 years when we will have reliable comparables, but currently it's very difficult to justify what we will do based on comparables. And last point, and maybe the most important one, is that a lot of groups will try to apply a loss split model, i.e. we will not speak about sharing profit, but we will speak about sharing losses. And we will have to push, I guess, some group will try to push some losses to even to low risk entities. And how do we do with that? How a routine entity could bear some group losses, or can a routine entity bear group losses? And we see immediately that we will have very rapidly a fight among the states because a lot of groups will try to push group losses into profitable jurisdiction, if any. So we do expect a strong reaction from the OECD, but even my personal feeling is that the OECD, since we are no longer speaking about sharing of profit, but sharing of losses, it might be quite long and maybe too late when the OECD will come up with a kind of consensus or a new set of rules. And what I do fear, and I would not be surprised to see that a lot of countries will move alone, will no longer apply the OECD traditional principle because they want to save some cash and they want to save some profit in their jurisdiction. So I think that the coming 2 or 3 years will be a really challenge for transfer pricing rules and for transfer pricing policies.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you very much for your very clear analysis. I do agree with you that international issues will be very important for the future, and also, I mean, the transfer pricing issues will be very, very important and will need to be managed in the future. I also have a question for you. What do you think will be the effect of this situation on the APA that are now in place?
Yes, regarding the APA which are currently in place, what we can fear and what we will see is that a lot of groups will be in breach of the condition that the tax authorities might have imposed for when they granted the APA. So we anticipate that we will have to go back to discuss with the tax authorities to amend all these previous conditions. And we do anticipate also much more requests for new APAs to secure all the amendments that we will have to do on our current transfer pricing policies.
Thank you, Frank, for this important international view. Let me step back once more to the domestic situation. If we have understood correctly, some countries in Europe, I refer to France, obviously, Poland and Denmark, are thinking to limit the tax benefits granted for tackling the COVID-19 in front of companies which have the beneficial owner located in a tax haven. Can you say something about something more about this point?
In France, the debate came related to the fact that the French state can guarantee loans granted by banks to the companies up to 90%. And what raised the Senate was that this guarantee could not be granted if the beneficiaries had subsidiaries based in tax havens. So an amendment had been proposed. It has been, at the end of the day, rejected, but it is currently applied by the state when they have to consider to guarantee fine for one company. This is kind of official soft law that we know that the company will not be able to get the state guarantee if they still do have some subsidiary set up in tax haven, and there is no specific economic justification for this setup.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. It has been really clear. Really nice to have you here in our talk.
Thanks to you.
We hope to see you in person very soon. So it will mean that we will have time to move and to cross through the international congress that we normally have.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Frank.
Thanks to you.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
Stay safe.